Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome back to Squared Circle Society. I'm Flesh Wound Dan, joined by Producer Todd.
Hey, yo.
How's it going, Producer Todd?
Chilling. How about yourself, Dan?
I'm doing well, Got back from the movies, ready to talk some wrestling. It's actually been a long wait, very long wait. I think we'll have some interesting things to say tonight.
Hopefully we'll have a pop-in from Kruger later, but
an in-ring pop-in, maybe.
Perhaps. I think he said he'd be home by now, but we'll find out.
Okay. Yeah, we're still trying to name his tag team finisher, so
yeah.
So I want to see those suggestions in the comments, guys.
If he pops in again, we'll play it again.
There you go. So I know we didn't get to do the first one right after it aired, but we kind of figured it's like, okay, let's double them up for the first week, and
we don't have to explain. We doubled them up the last 2 years, so
yeah, I think on most.
Yeah, once in a while we'll hit one solo if it's one that we feel like let's talk about it as soon as possible.
But yeah, the XPW one, of course.
Well, yeah, that was
had to do that. Yeah. I feel like we should produce our own UEW one.
Why is it got to be Dark Side?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some bad.
That's more tales from the territory. No, we don't want the bad stuff. I mean, come on.
The slap heard around the world, Todd.
The UEW arena where was Teddy Hart's alibi in the Peacock documentary. That's where he was. He thought he was in Mexico, but he was in East LA, which is basically Mexico. So
are we allowed to say, like, because wasn't somebody like on the phone and like saw those alerts going up, and then it's just like
I don't recall, so I don't think so.
Okay. Well, yeah, Teddy Hart's a very unique individual. He has not had a Dark Side episode. I don't know if it would be too much repeat info, being that he had that doc, but
I think it was pretty well covered. And that,
it was.
Plus, it feels like that's one that's not done yet.
Yeah, that's true. As long as he's still teaching.
Speaking of that, Doc, his buddy that probably about roughly 30% of it was about that Chance Ryan guy that got busted. Chasing Rants. There we go. Thank you. I don't know what the fuck I said. He got busted and locked up. They caught him again.
For the same thing?
Probation violation. I believe it was like he had social media accounts he didn't let them know he had. So that was what they got him on parole violation.
Yeah, people were still booking him too.
Yeah, I know Booker T was in business with them.
Yeah, he was a weird one because it's like I think people were using him that would usually bitch at XPW or other people for booking somebody that's, something that's not even proven.
Yeah.
So, I always thought it was hypocritical. Ben Grimm, when do I get my exit only tattoo like my idol Ludvig Borga?
Well, we'll get I just had to pull that up. That's actually the reason Dan was in such a rush to talk about it. But we'll get there.
We're going to talk Hell in a Cell first. What up, Drew? Brian, everybody in the chat. It's good to see you here tonight. So we'll get right into it with our first episode, Season 6, Episode 1, Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell. So June 28th, 1998, we have King of the Ring. And I can remember watching it, and by 1998, I had seen some pretty crazy shit. That's a time when, I was getting tapes and, seeking out like really obscure stuff. But I think it's fair to say, as far as like that, not just the crazy shit, but the emotional connection attached to it, that was huge. Like when he More so, not even just the bump off the top of the cell when he goes back, because I'm watching it live and I'm thinking like, okay, well, that's over. Like, holy shit.
You knew you were watching something special as it was happening.
When he got up and started to climb and then Taker went back, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is the best thing in the world. Like, just brilliant. Mick Foley, not just a guy who did crazy shit. Mick Foley was a guy who could get you emotionally invested, scare the shit out of you in certain cases, but always get you emotionally invested. And that was just such a huge moment. Probably not great because I was doing backyard wrestling and I was like, well, I don't think I can do that. But yeah, you're a little bit older. Let's take me back to like you first seeing it, because I'm assuming you ordered the pay-per-view.
I obviously ordered the pay-per-view. I'm sure we had some pizza before and some 40s during. A matter of fact, I know. So I was pretty feeling good by that main event. And yeah, holy shit, it was. I mean, you.
To think 2 years before that we had TL Hopper.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
It was, I mean, because again, by that point I had watched a lot of wrestling, and you know, you kind of, not that I knew how things worked or anything, but I'd watched a lot. I had a sense of what was and wasn't supposed to happen in the context of a wrestling match. And the way he flew off, always to me in my head, I'm like, I mean, it looked like he was just going to hit the guardrail. Like, it was just insane. I never saw somebody kind of take a bump that way. And yeah, I mean, it was just a huge moment in wrestling. A good chunk of this episode is not just about Hell in a Cell. It's Hell in a Cell. They also go into some of the Japanese deathmatch stuff and just his style in general.
Well, I mean, it's Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell, so it is about Mick Foley.
Yeah,
it does focus heavily on the Hell in a Cell, but it is really, and I mean, no matter how you tell his story, that is a pivotal, if not the most pivotal moment in his career.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, really one of the defining moments of the Attitude Era. If Vince is I mean, if it wasn't changed before, it was certainly changed after that match. In fact, they talk about in this episode, I believe it was can't remember the exact amount of time before he got the belt after that, but
yeah, that yeah, I think I can't remember if was that the 7 months.
No, 7 months later, I know was the I Quit match.
Yeah, okay. Which I was there for, on the floor, and like we didn't know why this lady was freaking out and got walked away. But then when we saw Beyond the Mat, all the pieces went together.
And I take it you didn't think that was a work.
No, I didn't think it was a work.
Yeah, that was
like I remember those chair shots. Like, I mean, we'll get to that, but I mean,
Ben also brings up that Foley, he was training for one more match. Yeah. My understanding is he got a concussion and it was pretty much like, no, you're done. Because he got a concussion in training. That's wild how that feeling is still with you. You know, Foley now in his 60s and he's still thinking about doing that. I don't want to see it. I'll be honest. I don't want to see it.
What if it was versus Flair?
All right, Rick, we're going to go off the cell together. Here's the finish of that match. They go to fight on the top of the cell. Rick drops Trow and just starts helicoptering until he like scares him off the top for the bump. But no, I mean, this episode is really just about the effects of the many insane bumps that he took. Some of which they may not be as spectacular visually as flying off the cell, but I mean, we all remember his concrete bumps.
I was going to say the elbow onto the concrete.
The elbow, which is just, I don't think a lot of people appreciate just how impactful.
It's why the way he walks now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's insane. The fact that he would even be considering another match is mind-boggling. I would imagine his wife probably just was like, "I'll divorce you if you do this."
But didn't they get separated too briefly? I thought Mick was having this whole midlife crisis thing.
No, I think that might have been rumored at one time. There was that story that broke, probably more than a few years ago now. That rat that was, self-proclaimed rat. I don't think I'm being insulting. That was spilling the beans on all these wrestlers she apparently hooked up with. And I don't know. I think that was just a rumor, but yeah,
Mick on blast.
Maybe, I don't know. But I like how we kind of recap, because Vince really didn't want to bring him in. I think
cover his face up.
Yeah, cover his face up. And I think they were at that point where it's like, okay, we've done Undertaker taking on these giants, in some cases immobile giants. We really need him to fight a psychopath. Which was absolutely the right decision. Certainly the Foley Taker feud meant a lot more than the Taker Giant Gonzalez feud, like it's working a little bit better. It reignited that feud, which had been going on before, but then Hell in a Cell, it's like, holy shit. I think Jim Cornette takes credit for coming up with Hell in a Cell. I think I've heard different variations on that, but and they kind of recap Terry Funk suggesting tossing him off that he get thrown off the cell as a joke.
Yeah.
And then he just ran with it. This is one of those episodes I feel like if you're an old school wrestling fan, you've heard most of these stories before. Which is cool, because they are trying to, like you said, they're trying to cater to younger fans that don't know about it. But
they might know a little, but like nothing in depth like this.
Yeah,
I do enjoy seeing the reenactments and stuff too.
I'm sure there had to be some heavy fear, because those zip ties were breaking. I mean, you can see that within the match.
You can see them laying next to him when he lands. It's the first time I noticed it watching it this time.
Yeah.
You see the zip ties right next to him, 3 black ones.
One thing, and I had heard this, but I know it kind of blew a lot of minds, is that the WWE doctor, Francois Petit,
I thought it was cool that they got him too.
Yeah, they did get him, and he was Sub-Zero in the Mortal Kombat movie. So
was he really?
That's what they said. Yeah. He was Sub-Zero. I don't know if he was the main. Well, I think that actor was a stunt guy. So yeah, Sub-Zero in the Mortal Kombat movie. I figured you would have known that.
No.
I will fact checked it, but it was in the episode. You sound like you don't believe it, Todd.
No, I don't remember hearing that.
I believe it was the movie. I'm going to fact check whether it was the 95 film, but I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind hearing about this again and geeking out about it again, because it's just, again, like and yes, it was Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat 1995. So Sub-Zero was tending to Mick Foley after Hell in a Cell, if you weren't aware. And yeah, I think it was 6 months after this match, he's WWE champion, a guy that Vince didn't even want to hire, who saw nothing in him. And that is just insane. JG, I was in the audience when Hell in a Cell happened. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Very cool. I wish I obviously I wish I could be in that arena at that time. But yeah, the rest of the episode, like I said, it's not just about that. It's really Foley, his fear of brain damage and quality of life in his later years. And I think that obviously it's nice to see that he's still with it. He's still sharp. Again, I don't want to see him wrestle again. What are you going to do to top it? I mean, I guess I feel like he would go even harder than a Ric Flair. He'd have to. And I'm like, I don't want to. What, are you going to jump off the cell again? Are you going to jump off a scaffold? I don't want to see 60-year-old Mick Foley do that. So sad episode. In some ways, I mean,
you realize what's going to happen to him as he gets older and older.
Yeah, no,
and absolutely. He's coming to grips with that, which makes it a little. He knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, technology. Bryan Danielson fixing his head supposedly. I don't even know how that works, to be honest, but maybe he'll luck out. But Mick has so much to offer. Write more books. All your books are great.
Well, he's doing the speaking tours to keep his mind sharp.
Yeah, or honestly, maybe take a GM type thing again, because I think that he's good.
Yeah, but I don't even see him walking out to the ring at this point. Like, I mean, it's going up that big ass ramp now.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to do too many pull aparts probably, but fuck, the guy was going to wrestle. He was training. He was taking bumps again. So, yeah.
Ben says he will want a big money match.
Well, he would get it, but I don't know.
AEW would let him do a cage match. Yeah, they probably would. And what's that say about them?
Yeah, I can't imagine that he would get cleared for a WWE match.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I just, it was sad, and I'm like, I hope we have Mick for a long time, and I hope he can get over that. JG, his book is a big reason he got the title. I'm not saying that to diminish him. His social skills, though, and ability to talk to media types like Maddow are understated in his success. Yeah, no, he's very well spoken. One of the best promos of all time. I mean, yeah, he was one of these people that could have found his way even without the crazy bumps. I don't know if he would have been WWE champion, but like he had a special way of connecting with an audience that not a lot of people have. So yes. Solomonias. Well, we are going to talk one later. So he's not in wrestling anymore, but we are going to talk him. So Ted, aside from Hell in a Cell, like, do you have a favorite Mick Foley moment or Cactus Jack, whatever gimmick?
I wasn't prepared for this, Dan.
My bad.
That's all right. I'm a little enhanced, so it's taking me an extra minute to think. Winning the title was such a big moment. I mean, obviously the Rumble Rock match sticks in my head because I was there.
Yeah. Maybe even more brutal. That when he clocks him from behind with that chair, I was just like, fuck, what are you doing? Like, holy shit.
And then Rock went overboard. And I love that, like, a lot of that stuff is captured in Beyond the Mat too.
Yeah. That again, it's like I knew. Oh, Cactus Jack versus Vader, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll definitely pre-WWF career. That's definitely
everything Vader did pre-WWF.
Yeah, well, I make Cactus Jack because I mean it's hard to top those WWF ones.
I'll give you a more promo oriented one. and it was leading up to one of the ECW reunion shows. I believe my timeline could be off, but it's that promo where all of a sudden Foley was like pro Eric Bischoff, and you had Terry Funk. It's like, your children are bastards, Foley. It's like, and he just sits there. He doesn't do anything. Your wife is a whore. And he still doesn't do anything. Eric Bischoff is a bastard. And then Foley just clocks him. Like, it was so good. And kind of playing against type, but he could make it work. Anything he did with Terry Funk was amazing. The Japanese death match, that whole saga is amazing. The Terry Gordy match, just if you haven't actually gone back and watched that tournament, you should.
The Mind Games 96 match with HBK came up in the chat. JG brought them up. That's my favorite HBK match.
Yeah,
that is a great match.
When
he says he hasn't seen it, you should probably see it.
Yeah, and that was a time too when Mankind debuted. That's 96. There are a lot of stupid gimmicks in 96. And along comes this guy who is like talking to his pet rat in vignettes, and just like, what the fuck is this? I knew he was Cactus Jack, so you know, I mean, I'd seen that. But
well, it's funny. JG's asking us, did you guys enjoy the comedy Mankind or the original Prodigy Child who had his finger smashed in the piano and became a madman Mankind gimmick more? The original is better for me. I think that's what you're about to get to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it had to start out serious. I mean, you know, you look at The Undertaker, and you know, at a certain point he had to kind of evolve, and you got the American Badass, and you know, Mick did that perfectly. I remember when Dude Love showed up on Raw, and you know, he got a little bit.
That was a big moment too.
Yeah, you just have his feet, and then it's just like he comes out there, and it's like, holy shit, they're calling back to his beginnings with the backyard stuff. And you know, I was a stupid kid that was jumping off my roof too. I was losing my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
So
I remember buying the tape for The Loved One.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like he had several moments that just gave me chills. And I'm a big wrestling fan, but there's only so many moments that kind of give you chills. I mean, the most recent was probably Cody finally finishing his story. But those moments only come along so once in a blue moon. And Foley had several. And I think he's an icon. He's not just an icon of deathmatch or hardcore wrestling. He's an icon when it comes to promos, his multiple characters, you know, face, heel, like he could do it all. And I think he's a lot more than just Hell in a Cell, but no doubt phenomenal. And I think a big reason why, quite frankly, Hell in a Cell's kind of dated now, because it's like they can't they don't do blood.
They do blood again.
They've been, ironically, I don't think in the last Hell in a Cell they did, but
what was the one where or that was just a cage match when what's his name dropped his blade?
Well, the last
Kevin Owens.
Oh, okay.
I do. Pugs wanted me to put over this is his favorite match, period. Like his favorite match, and he wanted me to point out, and this is on a show that had Kane winning the world title. Kane is his favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
So,
that's pretty shocking, because I know he's a big Kane mark. But yeah, man. Go back and watch some of his more obscure stuff. Well, I guess it's not obscure, but
brought thumbtacks to the WWF.
Yeah, something that never
it's
thought
funny.
we'd see.
people who look down on deathmatch will still put over this match. And just say
I don't know how you couldn't. I mean, the first Hell in a Cell match, yeah, technically was better, and even Mick acknowledges that. But the emotion, just holy shit.
Yeah.
We're getting to Mr. Borga next. So, any closing thoughts on Hell in a Cell?
No, I mean, it's a great match. It's a great moment. It's a spectacle. Kind of like Free Fall, the spectacle that XPW had. Just put you remember?
Yeah, and that I was at that, and I did think I witnessed the death. I felt sick to my stomach, and
I was front row, so I could. It was he felt like it felt like he was okay.
Well, you were older. I mean, that one, I was like, oh, that didn't go.
If he wouldn't have bounced back in, that's another story. Speaking, which you can go watch on Stream XPW. Speaking of Stream XPW, new episode of UEW on Stream XPW with one of my favorite cage matches. Tag team champions, the Heavy Hitters versus Urban Discipline, which is like one of my favorite UEW feuds. It's good match. Check it out on Stream XPW.
Sweet. All right. So they want us to talk. I know
you don't want to. Yeah, I know. You're thinking about if you should say it or not. We might still want to avoid
the German World War II enthusiast, Mr. Ludvig Borga. And this is season 6, episode 2, Ludvig Borga, Hellraiser from Helsinki. So before I get into the episode, Ludvig Borga, I do remember fairly well, even though it was, I think, just under a year that he was in WWE. I remember when he debuted and in 1993 and looking at him and thinking like, okay, this guy looks like an ass kicker. Yeah, like this guy looks like Ivan Drago. I was always a little bit confused because it's like, wait a minute. So he's from Finland? Like Finland's not a bad country at the time. Like we don't have beef with Finland. Why is he like the foreign heel from Finland? That was the only weird
he
thing.
Sounded scary.
It kind of felt, I'm surprised Vince didn't just go like, we're gonna call you Vladimir. It's like you're Nikolai Volkov's son or something like that.
Or just go with the German gimmick. Well, it would have been funny. Well, ironic.
Yeah, well, that would have been authentic for sure, as we'll get into. But I do remember him. Somebody actually, I think in a previous chat, called him like Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar. Some people have, said that Dan Severn was Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar. Certainly Brock did it better, but yeah, there was something there. And I look back on him and I think, like, not knowing that he's a psychopath, as we will get into, but looking at him, I'm just like, why didn't they give him a mouthpiece? Because he couldn't cut a promo.
That was the weirdest, just shut up and stick someone with him. Didn't make sense. Johnny Polo done.
Yeah, anybody to cut the promos for him, because his promos were just like USA stink. Like it was just like it wasn't. And I know English isn't exactly his first language, so that's part of it. But it's like, why would you not give this motherfucker a mouthpiece? And of course, as we go a little deeper into the 90s, WWE just kind of stopped doing that. But that, and just make him, like you said, Russian, German, something that people can get behind, because I think
could have been the first Gunther.
Could have been the first Gunther, absolutely. But yeah, you're right. Like, I don't think most wrestling fans knew that Finland was a country. So
but you know what? Strange. Most wrestling fans probably didn't care. They're not American, boo.
To a degree, but
building to that versus Luger, that's like the worst possible thing. Like you could, Jesus Christ, that tells you how bad it was.
He gets off to a good start, though. I mean, we have to say that he ended Tatanka's feud, and if you don't, or his Tatanka's undefeated streak. And if you don't remember, Tatanka had a hell of a undefeated streak over 2 years, so was kind of a big deal at the time. And he wasn't bad in the ring. Like, there's not a lot to go back and watch, but he was. I always liked the gorilla press spot where he'd drop him and punch him in the stomach. I always thought that was cool. And you know, he and we'll get into the political stuff here in a bit, but yeah, like I saw something in him, and for obvious reasons, I think things worked out for the best. It's a shame Tatanka had that and had his streak broken by a guy who ended up having a very short run.
Should have been Bastion Booger.
So Jim Ross talks about discovering that he had the SS tattoo on his leg, and bad reactions from Jewish talent, which I would have liked to have seen that expanded upon a bit, because
Barry Horowitz was pissed.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I was like, Barry Horowitz would probably beat his ass or try to.
I brought up Johnny Polo earlier. Was Raven on the roster then? He probably wouldn't have been.
93, yes. 93, yes. Yeah, 94 he was for sure. So
yeah, that's one thing. Like, I didn't know about the other one. I agree with this 100%. He should have kept the Viking gimmick.
Well, yeah, I mean, 93, you still, yeah, you could have made that work, I guess. I mean, it would have. It's a little more cheesy though, and that defeats the purpose of him being like this.
Yeah, but I think it was better than he might have had a chance to connect with the crowd.
Yeah, possibly. We're talking 93, so you could still make that kind of gimmick work, but yeah, no, they discover that, and this is a very in-depth episode, because I knew about all the SS political stuff, and he I knew he was a racist and a terrible human being. I had heard that story. I didn't deep dive though, so the cool thing about this episode is there were things to kind of learn. As you'd expect, broken home, divorced parents, both alcoholics, and his biographer is interviewed. I'm kind of curious if his biography was translated or not.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a good read, but they interview his best friend Krister, who I'm sure probably had some tattoos of his own.
They definitely had some matching tattoos. And I don't know if they honored the no exit one.
Yeah, they got them together. I wonder when you're. So yeah, he did have an exit only tattoo. We're skipping ahead a little bit, but and I'll get into Jim Cornette's reaction.
I mean, he's 100% right.
Yeah, well, what do you say like when you go into the tattoo parlor? It's like, I'm not gay. I want an exit only tattoo above my head.
We're gonna do a Kickstarter so Dad can get one. We'll get a number and we'll make it happen.
It's fucked up. That would have to be a couple $1 million, so it's not gonna happen.
Really?
Everybody's got a price, Ted. But
all right, then we'll do a bet for it. We'll figure something out.
With my luck, it'll be like fucking Elon loves our show, and he's just gonna be. I don't give $2 million. If I got $2 million, to be honest, I would do it in a heartbeat. But maybe not the other tattoo.
Oh no, you got to get them both.
It's just Elon doing the Roman salute on my back.
The whole back piece.
Again, $2 million. I'm just gonna be like, anytime I have a date, I'm gonna be like, look. I'm just gonna let you know. This is not like
I love Tesla.
I'm a big Tesla mark. And he was just waving high.
Ben says, make that a tramp stamp.
What up, Matt? Winter, anybody that I've missed. So yeah, I mean, typical story. Parents were pieces of shit and broken home. They talk a little bit about some of the racism that he experienced, which again, kind of ironic how he ended up. And he develops this persona, the Viking, which
I read Matt's comments.
Yeah, we're getting to it. We're getting to it.
I'm sorry I screwed up the build to your favorite part, Dan.
I know. I'm trying to build to the finish. Comes up with the Viking. A lot of that, up to this point, you could feel sorry for him because, I mean, just everything kind of points to him not turning out very well. He and Krister were raising hell, beating the shit out of people in bars. And of course, much like some other nefarious folk, he was inspired by Taxi Driver. And he moves to LA in 1986.
And we get his ex-wife.
They do get his ex-wife, Dee Dee, who seems like a very nice lady.
Yeah, she seemed, yeah. Nice. I'm glad it was ex-wife.
Nice, intelligent, attractive, and what the fuck were you doing with this piece of shit? God damn, lady. She talks about him wanting to be a movie star and his bodybuilding obsession. He was doing Russian steroids and horse medication, just crazy shit. He did have a little bit of success. Now, this is something I didn't know. He did
the filmography. I was waiting for you to do.
Yeah, he did Little Caesars commercials. He was on a WKRP episode.
Yeah.
Which, again, I did watch that.
New WKRP. That was the reboot series.
Yeah, I
watched that one too. I actually remember that episode.
I didn't really remember the episode, and I probably didn't even realize it was him.
No, I would have had no clue, but I remember the setup and the gimmick. I didn't. When they showed the clip, it definitely I do remember seeing this.
Yeah. Jodie Foster must have some fire pussy, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Jodie Foster is the destroyer of worlds. But yeah, so has a little bit of success. He ended up in Herb Abrams' UWF as the Viking. So obviously breaks into wrestling. As you would expect, looking at the guy, he goes to Japan. New Japan, kind of did a boxing thing, had matches with Vader, which I actually have seen, but I got to go back and watch. And teamed with Scott Norton. And he at this point, unfortunately, even though he experienced it, he's a full-on racist at this point. And he Scott Norton, he gets into a bad fight with him.
Not a guy you want to get in a fight with either, I think.
I feel Scott Norton seems to be that's
he has a reputation.
Yeah, he's on that list with Haku of under no circumstances do you fuck with this person. Little unclear how the fight went. I mean, they're both big dudes, but
I'm going with Norton.
I'm not getting in between the two of those guys. So yeah. So he and his wife Dee Dee at the time, again being the piece of shit that he was, he had cheated on her, and they split up. And he joins WWE as their new foreign heel supervillain, Ludvig Borga. So from the beginning, like I said,
from Helsinki,
big moment getting to end Tatanka's streak. Yeah. They're building him up to work with Lex Luger, who, kind of a bomb at least in my opinion, in WWE.
Killed Elizabeth.
Definitely killed Miss Elizabeth.
Putting him in the Hall of Fame. Disrespect. Is
Uh,
Elizabeth in? See, that's fucked up. She's not. Or did she? They finally put her in.
I don't think they did put her in because I think she's I could be wrong on that. Chat, you can fact check me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know that she
I
wasn't
don't
supposed
because
to
I
go
don't
in.
remember anybody inducting her that would have.
Unless they snuck her in one of the Legacy or.
If it was, I think it must have been Legacy because she's a weird.
I still think she's not in there. I'm actually going to fact check while we.
I think there's some uncomfortable conversations with her. She should be, but
100%.
And yes, the one finger pin, nice touch. Again, everything was there except a fucking mouthpiece. Like,
no, she's not.
Okay, well that should be rectified, but yeah, the one finger pin. It's like if he just had a heel manager, I think you could have.
Yeah.
You could have dragged it on a little bit. I think he was a psychopath, so eventually he was gonna fuck it all up.
But you know what? If he was making money, they would have put up with the psychopath. Remember how long they put up with Warrior?
If he was making money at a certain point, they would just give him the money to remove the tattoos.
Yeah.
If we're being realistic.
I mean, because
like
I know we don't like to tarnish him now, but the Warrior was a big racist piece of shit too. So
yeah. Go look at some of his speeches outside of wrestling. Yeah. That I always found that, like, I get when somebody dies, it's a weird position to be in because they can't defend themselves, so talking shit's a little taboo.
Yeah.
But at the very least, like, I don't think you have to kiss the ass of
There's a whole fucking DVD about how big of a piece of shit Warrior was.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden everybody has this magical turnaround on him. It's like, it's okay saying he was a fucking
That's because he came back and kissed the ring of McMahon and knew his place, and everything was allowed again.
Yeah.
I have to pull that up. Yeah, they did say the locker room hated him. Both of them, but yeah, I know Ludwig.
Yeah. And so, so this brings us to the exit only tattoo. The way Jim Cornette describes it on Dark Side of the Ring is fucking hilarious. It's like a guy who hates gays so much that he had tattooed exit only above his asshole. It's like, have you seen him? Who's gonna try and fuck this guy in the ass? Why do you need the reminder?
There you go.
Oh wait, I was gonna fuck this guy in the ass, but he said no. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I don't think you have to worry.
I said exit only, so
yeah, it's just like, oh, my bad. Like, in case they just yank your pants down or something. No, that part was hilarious, and I didn't know about that. I knew about, like, him having, like, the SS tattoo. Yeah. I've heard that, but yeah, exit only. I think the timeline's a little wonky there. I'm not sure if he had that while he was wrestling. Can you imagine if his fucking tights got, wardrobe malfunction?
They said the locker room saw it.
Did they? I know they saw the SS tattoo.
Okay, maybe you're right. Yeah.
It was just, I'm kind of curious because I'm like, can you imagine, like, now, if, like, fucking Chad Gable, like, gets his tights pulled down, you see exit only. Like,
it's probably why they didn't like him.
You're a Shorty G again.
I miss Shorty G.
Well, if you got El Grande Americano.
Yeah, he's even better than him, though.
Yeah. So, needless to say, he gets injured in Madison Square Garden match with Rick Steiner, and they just kind of give him the big boot, as they should have.
Well, they said they knew he was, he wasn't going to last at that point. They were looking for a reason. So it was perfect.
What if he signed like a 10-year Mark Henry deal? Can you imagine the stuff that they'd try and do to get him out of it? It's like, all right, you're going to be Billy and Chuck's manager. Like, we're gonna need you all to kiss. Whatever they could do to get him to break that contract. But yeah, he leaves. Now you would kind of figure, if you watch a lot of Dark Side of the Ring, that this would be the point where the decline, and then he started drinking and doing drugs and then dead, because that's how most of these unfortunately end. But no. So he fights in the UFC.
They should have made him wrestle the Booty Man.
That's how he wins. He like distracts him. Like Booty Man just sees that and doesn't know what to do.
Oh fuck, that was good, man.
You just have him and Billy Gunn like side to side, Ass Man and Exit Only. The tag team we never got. So he does fight in the UFC against Randy Couture, who beats the fuck out of him and taps him out in like a minute. Not gonna talk shit though. I mean, you make it to UFC. Like
I heard the first 10 UFCs are on ESPN Plus too, so you can watch them through Disney Plus.
Yeah, this would have been. I
kind of want to watch them now.
I would be curious to see that. Randy Couture looked like a different human being at that point.
Yeah.
He gets his second wife. During this period, he does get more roles. He plays a henchman in Die Hard 3.
Yeah.
So
he was the talk of Finland. Or wait.
Finland.
Okay.
Yeah, Finland. You forget the country, Todd?
Yeah, I did. I was like, wait, was it?
And so yeah, still doing the acting. He does have an incident. He has a second wife, but he gets deported over. God, he had guns, drugs, steroids, like all kinds of shit.
All the good stuff.
That gets him thrown into L.A. County Jail, where he makes buddies with the Aryan Brotherhood, and they take him in. I don't know what they would think of the. Can you imagine being in fucking prison and you got the Exit Only tattoo?
Oh, I'm sure they all were like, yeah, that's hilarious.
I mean, again, I don't think he has to worry, but like, I don't know. That they might test it at that.
He thought he was so sexy that he had to tell them, because they were going to just be ripping his clothes off to get to him.
That's true. That's true.
So it's for his protection.
So that kind of ends his time in America.
Lucky for America.
He does do the Finnish version of American Gladiators, which makes sense. They do make a point in this episode, like he was obviously in shape and a really intimidating looking dude, but he wasn't like super muscular. Like he was just one of those dudes that just was kind of built, but still kind of had that gut and everything that I guess he had some issues with. Who would have thought, though, that after all of this, he tries to shill a protein shake, which leads to him and his business partner trying to become a politician. And he goddamn, if he's not successful to a degree and becomes a politician, he gets elected to the Finnish parliament and kind of joins a fringe party. I mean, I'm sure it was a Jesse Ventura type thing where it's like, this guy's gonna beat me. Like, well, he did. And there's a lot going on in Finland at the time, and Tony Helmy, Ludvig Borga, he run down. He called the Finnish president at the time a lesbian. They play some of these speeches, a lot of which I'd never heard. I can't repeat some of it, but lots of slurs, lets his feelings on the gay community be known, and wild. But I mean, he gets elected. He becomes this cult figure in Finland and is actually very, at that time, very popular. he would be great with Trump and Musk. Well, maybe they'll make him the secretary, or they would have made him the secretary.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well,
maybe they bring him back.
Yeah, they call Trump the American Ludvig Borga.
So if he didn't get busted for the drugs, that he could be running right now, finding.
Well, and they point out the similarities between the two in the documentary, which I thought was pretty.
A little, yeah, they go into that a little bit, and we kind of get into they don't spend too much time on the political career. Obviously they get, yeah, I think there's probably a whole documentary you could do on that. I don't know a lot about Finnish politics or anything, so
well, they said it mirrored the way Trump did his, and so it was the same.
Just was like saying stuff that you wouldn't normally say out loud, and he caught on and he won. But once again, it was all destined to come crashing down because he was a psychopath, and his substance abuse gets worse. And yeah, so we kind of go through the downfall. He has a boxing exhibition that goes really bad, goes on an epic bender, gets an ultimatum from his wife, and always weird. I don't know how to talk about it on YouTube because I know it's like a buzz thing, but tries to end things, I guess we'll just say. And at this point, like, piece of shit though he may be, I guess you kind of feel for him a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Tiny bit. I get it. Like, maybe some human compassion because he goes into a coma and then he's just not the same. He's got brain damage and gets divorced, never really back to his old self. Now we're kind of at the point that a lot of Dark Side of the Rings end. And
this one was, I think it was really dark with the whole, like, he didn't get the job done, and then it's like just I mean, he did well. He might have really got the job done. I mean, he wasn't the same person.
Yeah, they quoted him, I think, from his autobiography. I'd rather live one day as a lion than 40 years as a mouse, was I think his quote. That's how this guy was. Again,
oh yeah, the
person,
the bender for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right on.
The biggest thing for me in this episode too was his wife, because I'm trying to be polite, but we've seen some of these episodes where it's like you can tell, piece of shit marries a rat, and you could kind of tell that they were rats. But his first wife seemed intelligent and like genuinely nice, which is wild. But yeah, they kind of run down. He's doing small bar appearances. The world kind of forgets him at that point, and Krister finds him dead as he goes over to celebrate his birthday with them. And that's kind of the end of the episode. I mean, they're very Jim Cornette, Jim Ross, and you're like, yeah, he was a piece of shit pretty much. And his wife Dee Dee, his first wife, was kind of a little more diplomatic, I guess. I mean, she wasn't.
She got her shit together for sure.
Yeah, she was kind of like, there was a good person there. Obviously, he didn't show it to a lot of people. Unfortunately, he wasn't very nice. But yeah, she makes a couple comments that are cold, but then she did say, like, there was a good person at one point.
Yeah.
And Matt points out, like, she felt nothing when he died. Yeah. Although she kind of contradicts that a little bit too with a few comments, but yeah. So Todd, I would say this is one of the better episodes for me because is a diehard, longtime wrestling fan who actually remembers Ludwig.
Yeah, Borga. I remember him clearly too.
Yeah. It's funny. Kruger didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
which makes sense because
he also didn't know who Too Short was, but that's a whole nother thing.
So yeah, Ludvig Borga. I ask this every time we start our Dark Side of the Ring reviews. Is there one person still that you really want to see?
And Flores brought it up.
There needs to be a Mike Awesome Dark Side. Yeah. There's a good story there with him.
Yeah.
Particularly sad considering he got paid. Like he got like a $250,000 like bonus, I believe, on top of his salary.
Yeah.
When he came into WCW. And how they used him was just insane.
I like the fat guy thrill.
Yeah, you don't normally pay main event money to a guy. It's like you love it.
Everything they threw at him, he made it work though. It was at least entertaining.
I don't think so.
I thought it was entertaining as hell.
I don't know about that, but yeah. But
yeah, I'll give you it didn't make it work, but he made what he did entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, WCW at that point, it's hard to judge some people that particularly people that were just getting their big break because it's like, well, what did you expect? Everything was kind of shit at that point. But
wait, hold on. This one first. I was gonna do.
I liked it because I had no prior knowledge of this guy. Yeah, that I think will make it for a lot of people. Hell in a Cell again, good episode, but like nothing new. They should do a Dark Side of the Ring about Ole Anderson, but just clips of him saying he was the shits. Ole Anderson was quite the racist himself. Right. I'll be honest, I don't think I know they won't touch it, but
Ben said the episode he thought it was entertaining, but also felt sorry for him.
Yeah, like I said, some human compassion. He was not a good person, but yeah.
Do one on the rise and fall of Pastamania.
Well, I got one, and I don't know that they do it because there could be legal issues. We've all heard in shoot interviews about Memphis and the underage.
I don't think they're going to do that I don't think they're going to do that one.
Have they done a Dark Side on Bryan Adams? No, they have not. I think it's there's a good hook because there are some where it's like there's not really any drama. It's just average guy, got into steroids, drinking drugs, dead. So I don't know if there's a good hook on him or not.
Well, I was going to read off the episodes we have coming up left.
Daphne is going to be a gut.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, probably. Yeah. We got that one. We have Vader, Tony Atlas. It's gonna be a lot of feet.
The foot freak. Yeah.
Billy Jack Haynes.
Ooh, that'll be good.
This is gonna be a good one too. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories with him.
Yeah, that one's gonna be good. This one's gonna be interesting. And I felt like we've already done it, but we haven't. That's Superstar Billy Graham. There's gonna be a lot of shit about him being a piece of shit too.
My thing with Billy Graham was always like he was like super like shit on WWE,
and then come right back
getting paid. He had some Legends deal or whatever. Then he was like how great everything was.
Yeah,
he seemed with that so much where I was just like, all right, Billy. Like I don't think your words have a whole lot of weight, but
then we got the original Sheik. And one that might be a sleeper episode, the Muhammad Hassan one.
That'll be good. He's done some interviews. That's it's a tough one though. Again, it's like the evil foreign heel gimmick now is tough, but it still happens, and it still gets reactions. Although it does seem kind of archaic as far as like national TV goes now. But I don't think we're done because like Russian heels, I don't think are politically incorrect. So you'll probably always have the Russian heels. So that'll never die. I feel like that, a broader episode on that, like foreign heels, however you want to put it, like Baron von Raschke, who was a very nice guy, but they went harder with those characters back in the day. JG Rusev supposedly was spotted at WWE headquarters, so he is definitely coming back.
Yeah.
He wants a Rene Dupree one. Rene Dupree would be an interesting episode because he did have some different things. He's also got a very underrated YouTube channel where he talks to some people who don't normally get interviewed.
Wasn't he JBL's buddy?
He had some it was Bob Holly who fucked him up really bad.
Okay.
Like beat him, and to a point where I think
he was one of them.
Yeah, he had like some knot on his head or something that like oozed on a plane. It's like there's some stories with Rene Dupree that could work, but there's not really a dark side with him. Like he's doing okay.
Yeah, I want more Tales from the Territory episodes that they did the one season of.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think there have been some episodes that haven't quite fit.
Yeah, there were last season. There was quite a few, and they were just coming off Tales from the Territory that felt like it was more suited for that than.
Yeah,
there was quite a few last season where like this didn't feel like Dark Side of the Ring. It was just, this was a fucking Dark Side of the Ring.
Did you hear Luna Vachon is getting a feature-length documentary?
I did.
I'm very curious to check that out.
That'll be good.
Daphne is going to be a rough one.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't watch that video before she did the deed. I was like, oh, fuck.
I'm sure we'll be seeing it again.
It felt like, I don't know. Well, they don't. Yeah, they'll probably show it.
I mean, the China one had a lot of that stuff, those messages and stuff before. And that was from the same people. It was produced from the Dark Side crew.
Daphne really felt like one where it's like, I think if there was just somebody there at that moment to talk
She's to just her. Like China, yeah. And I remember seeing her at the end too. And that was the one that when I met to meet Bart, she was in the truck.
Yeah.
I talked to her quite a few times. She was at the bar.
There's some other obscure ones. Hardbody Harrison's an interesting one. Renegade. I don't think they did Renegade.
Did they do one? I can't remember. There's been so many at this point. I can't remember all of them.
I don't think they did Renegade. I mean, like I said, it just depends like who they can get to. Does the family want to talk about it?
A lot of the people we didn't think were going to come back. We didn't bring this up. JR's back, and like a bunch of people after that last Ric Flair episode, we didn't think a lot of people were going to.
Not Tommy Dreamer.
Well, to be fair, Tommy Dreamer wasn't a regular, really, though.
Tommy Dreamer was like extra impressed with Ric Flair's hammer, though. I will say this though again.
Still got Cornette. Rude, yeah. Wait, did they do a Rude? I don't think they did.
I don't know that they did. The thing about Rick Rude is like, do you tell that full story? I think they did do Rick Rude.
I think so too.
I think they did do Rick Rude. Yeah, well, you can pull up the episode list. I could have.
I'm looking at.
I mean, the thing about Rick Rude, and I know Ken Patera basically confirmed it, that he was shooting his Johnson up with like Viagra and had to have part of his dick amputated.
Yeah, ravishing. Yeah, there was.
And that's like, are they going to go into that, or is that kind of like a little too disrespectful?
I think they did talk. Well, no, they did do one. And I think they did talk about that.
I don't know that they brought that up. I saw some piece on him, and I think it was Dark Side.
No, they did. I'm looking. There's an episode.
Okay. Yeah, so like it's a rough one. I know Honky Tonk Man said it, and then Ken Patera kind of confirms, like, yeah, but that was true. What another fucking legend that had his career ended way too soon. Would have liked to have seen where he would have got.
Him and Perfect are the ones that I wish, would have had a little bit that last run.
Well, Well, Hennig did though.
No, I meant a real one, not in that shitty WCW run. I mean, because he was about to have that
WWE.
Yeah, I know, but it got
Yeah.
cut short with the plane ride from hell.
It did. It was the scapegoat.
It was, yeah. And I was loving that he was back. And so yeah, he got farther than Rude. Rude didn't even get that. Perfect got that. Though, you know what? They released him at the right time. Because then it happened. It didn't happen on
the West Texas Rednecks run, which was pretty fucking funny.
That was a good run, though. That was entertaining. I know the fact that they thought it was going to be the heels is hilarious.
I think that's like, actually, that is kind of gold. It's like you're the heel depending what region you were in. I would have loved to have seen that play out in WWE, where it's like how people would react to it, like in Atlanta, Nashville.
They stayed in their southern circuit though. Yeah, they came to LA, but it wasn't a regular thing. They really did have their region.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In WWF at the time,
it would have got different reactions in LA versus Georgia, and
it would have been funny to see like boos and cheers depending what town they were in.
Rap is crap. Yes. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, I think the saddest one for me, because I was a big fan of the guy, was Canyon's episode.
Oh yeah, that was.
And you know what really got me was when Ric Flair basically was like talking about him like he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you could see the light just die in his eyes. Like it was I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And what a great worker. Doesn't get the respect he deserves.
No, he was great.
Yeah, Canyon was one of probably the rougher ones for me. So Daphne, do you think they get Stevie Richards? Because he was living with her for a while.
They've had Stevie on before, haven't they?
I don't think Stevie Richards has done a Dark Side. And he's got a popular YouTube channel right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought he was. Yeah, Owen Hart was a hard one too.
Yeah, that. Well, maybe the worst of the worst is Chris Benoit's son, where he has the reunion with the aunt.
Yeah,
who he hadn't seen. Oh, that poor kid. There was never a chance for him in wrestling, and it's not fair. But yeah, I'm curious if they get Stevie Richards. I got to assume they're going to have Crowbar on there.
Yeah,
I would think. I mean, they'd be insane not to. David Flair is kind of just off doing his own thing now, so I don't know if they'll get him, but yeah, that one I feel like we'll probably be able to do that episode just solo, because the XPW one, Ben, it's tough because being that Todd even more than me is close.
I went through all that shit. I remember all of it.
It's like there's just so much unsaid. Like there's another XPW episode that they could tell if they really wanted to, because there's just so many stuff that some of which is not public, but a lot of people they didn't interview. Like, I don't know why Jimmy wasn't on that. Like,
yeah, they talked to him on the phone. I know that. Yes, Solomon Flores says XPW was the best episode. I wouldn't be here saving XPW if it didn't exist. Facts.
Soon.
Yeah. It's GHX. Yeah, I mean, I know it was Dark Side of the Ring, but I mean, I've had great interactions with Rob. I mean, I do stuff for the company now, so
yeah.
They tripping. They're tripping.
They'll do Dark Side of Deathmatch Elite.
I know a good episode, but
I know a few, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the big thing that came out. Brett Lauderdale calling wrestling fake. So
Brett Lauderdale's a fucking dork, and GCW is fucking garbage. Everybody's that's a side rant, but yeah. Brett Lauderdale's a moron.
Yeah.
I don't quite get it. Like, oh yeah, look, Effie's puking in somebody's mouth again. So it's like, okay, that that's cool. Like, great champion, I guess. So Todd,
yes.
We'll be seeing everybody again on Wednesday, I think. Or do we have anything before Wednesday?
I'm trying to think too right now. JG's asking if he's allowed to ask what's Todd's relationship with XPW. I make all the Blu-rays and do some other stuff.
Yeah.
So far, so yeah.
Stay tuned.
You can watch UEW on XPW TV. I'm responsible for that. So
yes. And buy some XPW Blu-rays.
Plausible. Yes, buy some XPW Blu-rays and get them on eBay too. Like they sell them directly on there also.
Oh, okay, nice.
The shop's down right now, but you can still get them through that, and I think Etsy too.
Okay. Yeah. Is it just
streamlining to one website? That's what I hear.
Okay. That makes sense.
And Ben is asking, are you all doing anything WrestleMania related?
Ben, I'll be watching WrestleMania with you, I believe. And
yes, but once you get home, we'll probably do something. I don't know if we'll wait, but we'll definitely do something on it.
Yes. Well, I guess I can just pimp that. If you're at the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Convention in Nashville, be sure to say hi. I know there's a lot of us, not you, Todd.
No, I'm going to be watching WrestleMania right here on my couch. Also, and I hope it's a later showing. I just don't know what time WrestleMania is going to start this year or end, because they have the 420 screenings, the early screening of Cheech and Chong's last movie, which I've been dying to see.
I don't think you're going to skip WrestleMania.
No, I'm not. But if it ends in time, if they have like a 9 o'clock, I'll be able to hit it. So I'm hoping once they announce the dates and times, if it's a 7, that's really cutting it close. WrestleMania would have to be done at 10, which I don't think is going to happen. But I'm hoping 9 o'clock, because I've been dying to see that doc. Saw the trailer again today.
There might be a lot of us just piling into small rooms. I don't know how we're going to make this work, but
make sure everyone has their exit only tattoos.
Maybe we could get temporary exit only tattoos just to honor Ludvig Borga.
Yeah, we'll do a Vegas WrestleMania Vegas review for sure.
Hell yeah. Should be. I'm determined for this convention to get some celebrities in our room. That hasn't happened since Chiller.
Hopefully it's Kane Hodder. He will not respect the exit only.
Damn, Todd.
Allegedly.
Jesus, you're not supposed to. All right, Todd. But you're gonna. I had Rob. We got to watch. I can't remember what he was watching. I didn't care, but Robert Kerman was in hanging out watching a football game or whatever it was at the time at Chiller, and that was one of my best memories. That and a friend of mine, she actually went into Lawrence Harvey's room because he was having trouble like with his window, and I just remember looking at her as like, because I don't think she even knew who he was. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, that's wild.
So what you're saying? She needs to really watch some of Sylvester Stallone's latest works to make sure the same thing doesn't happen to her.
Yeah, she should like check out Last Blood and A Working Man.
Yeah, to be safe. Come on. You want to get trafficked? That's how you get trafficked.
Yeah, that's how you get trafficked. But no, it should be a good time. Terrifier reunion, and some really good guests for that.
What do we know what next week is? Next week's episode?
I believe it's Vader.
Okay. So I'm just looking at it real quick.
Teased, I'm pretty sure.
So we'll definitely get one. We'll double up the next two before you go, because that'll be the 15th, and then we won't have to another one till after you're back. So that's perfect. We'll time out if we stick on the 2-episode format.
Okay. Sweet.
Or even if we do them single,
we got an insane amount of movies coming up, don't we?
Yeah.
Like for the next month.
I'm trying not to talk about, one of them I'm fresh out, going to see again. I won't say what, but you'll find out on Wednesday.
Yeah, I saw something that I think is going to be very discussion worthy as well. So I think
I know this is the wrestling show. I did see Luckiest Man in America today, the one based off the Whammy Pressure Luck scandal, we'll say that. I really enjoyed it. Perfect casting. Stingray, Paul, I forget his full Paul
Hauser.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah, I know it's a 3-name one, but yeah, Paul Hauser. I forget the name. Richard Jewell, is that better?
Richard Jewell.
But he was perfect casting. I might watch the real episode now when we're off the air.
Sweet. So I guess on that note, that's all we have for you. But stay tuned for more SCS and perhaps some more interesting wrestling stuff announced at some point. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you back here next time.
Good night.